parachute as requested.
AllAIs.com. Make a splash.
The following is a conversation with two Stephens Cicirelli. You heard it right, both share the same name, but they are unrelated. One is a professor of English literature, the other one is security expert and was on a podcast before. We are discussing philosophical aspects of AI and impact of AI on education, job market, and many other topics. If you enjoy it, please subscribe, comment, press the like button, and if you really like it, there is a Patreon link in the description. Welcome, everybody. I'm saying everybody because this is the first podcast I have with two people, which is interesting because both of them have the same name, Stephens Cicirelli 1 and Stevens Cicirelli 2. Stephen, you were on the podcast before. We were discussing security, quantum computers, and many technical stuff. And the second Stephen is new, a professor of English literature. And today we are going to discuss different issues of AI in different contexts. So maybe to start, I actually changed the ideas we were planning to discuss a little bit and wanted to go to philosophy right away, if you don't mind, because I think it's the most interesting aspect and it's not that often discussed, right? So my question to you is, since we know that AI is going to have tremendous impact on society, it will be used everywhere. It will be used both in like technical fields, but it also will be used extensively in education, in decision making. What do you think, or how do you see the alignment of values with of AI and of the humanity happening, given that we have this prevalent idea of relativism in the world right now? So how can we do that, right? If AI was invented in, I don't know, Middle Ages, that would be easy. Every culture would create their own AI. It would be like, the Judeo-Christian Europe, it would be like a Confucianism China, and that would be the AIs. But given that we live in multicultural society with diverse system of values, how can we create AIs that are both respectful and at the same time aligned with human values?
The biggest issue when it comes to generative AI is just how you make that large language model, right? What data are you feeding it? We can see clearly that when you feed it the internet, you get strange answers because it's not based on any fact. It's just generating its comments based on a predictive analysis of what's come forward before in the sentence and what the context that you're working in is. If you were going to create something that was more of a moral philosopher, I suppose you would need to feed it a lot of moral philosophy books in the area that you're interested in order for it to not stray. And then a lot of additional data, of course, as a background for it to search through. And it works really well as a library retrieval tool. But having the context around what you're doing and how you build that model out, it's going to be very dependent on what you feed it to start with. And that's an expensive process. For all the setbacks.
So you are arguing kind of that the source of the data would be the most important, but do you think that there should be the alignment? Because we have like three choices, right? Kind of. We have a choice of having AI trained to be aligned with specific system of values, which we do usually in the last stage, right? We do it through the reinforced learning with human feedback. Then the second option is to individualize it per preference of user, right? So you're a Buddhist, you want it to be a Buddhist AI, right? Like it aligns with your beliefs and system values. And the third option is to be value agnostic, right? To present all point of views as objectively as possible and not take any sides in any case.
I suppose it depends on what you want to use it for. If I want to use it as a general work aid around how I'm going to make a menu for the evening for the week, I probably don't need any of that.
I don't know. Maybe you need, because whatever, like a pork in some cultures, it should be
easy enough to do it. The instruction on kosher or I don't want anything with pork or any other things that are prohibited by particular religious or philosophical beliefs. I don't want to have anything with meat. You can get at those instructions currently and it can come up with interesting things. I think having a lot more per use type of AI capability is really where we need to go. Things that are a lot more structured and focused on a particular task or set of tasks in order to, one, develop it faster, right? Putting that large language model together around building race cars or running race cars and running racetracks, Formula One stuff. And that would be a lot smaller, easier, less expensive to build and less expensive to run than using, ChatGPT all the time.
Mm-hmm. So you believe that the models will be smaller over time? By the way, Steven, feel free to call in whenever you.
No. Did I hear you say you're a vegetarian also? You were. Oh, okay. I was gonna say. Then we have yet another thing in common. But I almost see technology, and because you mentioned philosophy and morality, and I almost see them as kind of on parallel tracks where they almost. I don't want to say they don't have anything to do with each other, but that I think there's this idea with AI that as technology is getting better, that there's progress, and I think we use that term in two very, very different ways, but we kind of mix them. Like, oh, we're progressing, like technology is getting better. Are we as people progressing, like morally? Like that's debatable. Dubious for me. So I see there's a great historian of religion. His name is Mircea Eliade. Do you know that name?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so he talks about certain religions having certain ideas of time, that Judeo-Christian religions have this very linear idea of time, that sort of this time's going to proceed linearly, then the Messiah is going to come and history is going to kind of end at a certain point. Whereas Eastern faiths sort of have a cyclical view of like that things are going to kind of go in a circle. These are faiths that tend to see things like reincarnation. And I think AI proponents, people who really, really believe in it almost in a religious sense, kind of see that like we're going to arrive at some sort of version of humanity that's like the pinnacle. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, this is a new version of the same problems that we've been having for thousands of years. Because I mean, I'm interested in literature, and like one of the things that makes literature great is you could read somebody from 500 years ago and they're talking about the same human problems that we still deal with now. There's just different set designs and different costumes people are wearing, but it's the same stuff going on. So I don't know that AI is going to make us more technologically advanced and all this other, but I don't know that it's going to make us better I don't know that I think it's a separate thing. I almost think they're separate tracks.
Interesting. So I disagree.
Yeah.
So you believe in the constant constant human nature, which is unchanging. Yes.
Yeah.
There is even in Christian philosophy, because that's like a standard Christian belief. But even in Christian philosophy, there is some thinkers like Teilhard de Chardin, who believe in progression of the humanity from alpha to omega, right? To like increase. And if I look at history, I agree. Like if you read Cicero, it sounds so contemporary, right? But I think it's only the capability of evil doesn't change. So, what we see, the genocides we see which humans are performing even now, right? This is happening right now. People are capable of it. But if you look at the general life of a person, it's uncomparable. Even 100 years ago, it's like the murder rate is uncomparably lower. The quality of life is lower. The respect for women is uncomparable. So it looks like there is some progress, even if the nature of human doesn't change, but the civilization is like tempering down the worst excesses.
Maybe I'll grant,
to a certain degree.
Do you think? Maybe I'll grant that. I mean, do you think AI will make that better or worse?
What I worry about AI is that in academia, you can have this relativist approach and have like no system of value is better than other system.
Yeah. Right.
Because it doesn't affect anything. It affects your paper. And at worst, it affects your students.
Right.
But it doesn't really affect reality. But imagine that the AI is trained this way. Mm-hmm. So AI is trained according to the current system of beliefs, which is that there is no better and worse, there is that everything is relative. Then it can come to any kind of conclusion if it takes it seriously, because it's a logical inference method.
Sure.
We are capable of keeping at the same time the belief in human rights, for example, and the relativity, which is contradictory. Sure. Either there are human rights or there is relativity. There is no possibility for both, right?
Agree.
Because human rights is an absolute. Every human has inherent dignity and the right to live or something like this. Sure. That's an absolute statement, right? But machines are have trouble with this kind of logical fallacies, right? So I wonder if this is going to be, I think it's already a problem. If you talk to different AIs, which were differently biased by this reinforcement learning with human feedback, they are very different in how they communicate with you. So maybe it's yours, Stephen, idea. I will call you Stephen. Stephen, yeah. Maybe this idea of specialized AI is a solution, right? Instead of like having, because I imagine that there is like one big, almost godlike, for the level of, godlike Olymp of God, not God, but Olymp God, so very powerful AI which rules the world, right? That would be a problem. It has a specific system of values which happen not to align with a system of values you are holding, right? But maybe if we don't go to this utopian view, maybe if it's like a little AI per function. But do you think it will stay like this? Like, how can super intelligence, if it's created, stay at specialization?
Well, I don't see that it's an either or, right? I certainly don't need a super dominating AI to drive the car, right? Or to run the security system in my house. Those are pretty simple systems compared to running the entire world or embracing a philosophy. I think in order to get to that point, there would be a need for the AI to have an ability to understand what it's being asked and what it's answering, and really to have some level of consciousness to be able to consider what might be good or bad, or even consider new things, right? Like, I can ask an AI to sort through a whole bunch of different alloys to look for a new superconductor, but I got to get a place to start. And it's not going to just sit there and suddenly go, hey, Stephen, I've discovered a new alloy. You should check it out. No, I've got to ask it to do it first, right? So there's no curiosity, there's no understanding. And before you can have an AI running everything, you need to have that understanding. What am I actually saying? What am I actually hearing? What am I listening to?
Well, I think he brought up a good point, which is that, because I'm like you, I have some concerns about AI, but really my deepest concern is just the general aspect of it. Like, I don't have a problem with like an AI doing something that's very, very like task specific, like you just described there. But like when I hear some of the CEOs of some of these large language model companies that they're trying to work toward artificial general intelligence, I'm like, I hear conflicted things about large language models might be a dead end, and you guys are much better equipped to answer that. But I'm like, is artificial general intelligence even a desirable? Why do we want to have something that can run everything and do everything? And is that a desirable outcome, even if we could do it? I don't know that it is a good. Why would we want that?
Well, as humans, we might not want it, but individual corporations might want it. And coming back to your example of security, so that would be a good example, because you're right. For car driving, I'm not sure if we need like a philosophical car driver, right? Like who knows Kierkegaard, but maybe not. But for security, I'm not sure, because if you want to be better than any human, you would need to be. Wouldn't you need to have capabilities better than human in every possible creative aspect, so that you can defend, you can understand, for example, all aspects of I don't know, you use that term when you use a human as an entry to the system, the easiest way, like mislead someone to take a memory stick and put it into the computer when it's completely impossible to go to the firewall, right? So I'm not sure. I think that in some cases, like security, having a super intelligence is basically going to be an arm race of super intelligence between countries or companies.
Sure. And maybe I should clarify a little bit. When I said security, I was thinking in terms of like a home security system, like protecting my house, letting my friends in when they show up early and I'm still at work, whatever, right?
Right.
That's more where my brain was going on that when it comes to like cybersecurity or network security type of things. Yeah, you're definitely going to need something more sophisticated, and it's not necessarily going to be very creative. The creative part's still coming from the human beings. It's being used today to create attacks rapidly, to turn around and take advantage of a vulnerability that's been published that has a patch for it, to be able to quickly put together some code and take advantage of that situation before people can get their machines patched. That's absolutely happening. And being able to do those correlations at superhuman speed is necessary moving forward to counteract that, because I think there was Scattered Spider was recently converting from hacking into a system to being able to take things over in under 5 minutes. Right? 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I not even got the alert yet, right?
Yeah.
I was running off to get a cup of coffee or something, and that's all happened in that period of time. So yeah, you're going to need something that can react at those levels. But I think that just underscores the need for different types of AI capability for different types of systems.
I'm thinking even in a situations like, imagine like a complex attack, like not that the system is hacked in 5 minutes, but that you have a system which is first able to create a very beautiful girl who calls one of these lonely employees, which it figured out by looking at the Facebook, and it tells him that she's in a need of absolutely, she needs that access because otherwise she will, I don't know, commit suicide or something. And then he goes for it, right? So this is the entry. Then the moment he and opens this email with this attachment, then the attack happens. And this can be very, very complex. It can be a fake call from FBI saying that they need access to this system. Anything like this, which requires very general intelligence. You need to be able to understand human emotions, simulate them, understand how to convince somebody, maybe threaten them, maybe blackmail them, maybe convince them, right? It's basically like being a human trying to do that, except that the human would use different tools to achieve that. I can totally imagine hackers in the future having a tool, agentic AI, which would do all of that by themselves. And it will be run by a kid in a basement who, I don't know, got a bad grade in school and is now taking revenge or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, you basically described espionage for the last several thousand years, right? We find somebody, we find a weakness, we send an agent to specifically exploit that particular weakness.
Yeah, except that all of it is not done by human.
Right. And now you just sped it up, but you're still needing human to identify the mark and help build that creature out that you're creating, this false entity that's going to hack the human.
Maybe you need to just build the technology, but I don't think you need to tell it what to hack. You can give it an agency. It's just,
You could, but how's it going to discover you as an individual and attempt to break into a corporation? So you need a target to point at, right?
It could select its own
on the world.
Could select its own targets by itself completely, like scanning internet. I don't know. Like you give it the basically the reward function is hack as many as possible, right? And then the reward function, which is in terminology of machine learning, is what in reinforcement learning gets you toward the target as quickly as possible. It's like optimization toward the target, right? So the reward function is hack.
You could do that.
Yeah,
it's either going to be slow or really expensive on electricity.
That's true. That's all true. I'm just thinking, more like science fiction, but not that far in the future.
Well, there's this types of thing currently. It's just there's human in the loop helping it along the point at where it needs to go.
Yeah, the human slows it down. So that's the human is slower.
But we were talking about morality before, and if people are merging with so I guess to come back to that point you asked earlier about morality, like if we are merging with this technology, is it going to make people so what I was saying earlier is maybe it was an overstatement to say that these things don't have the moral progress and technological progress don't have anything to do with each other. Maybe a slight overstatement, but do we think that merging with this technology that at least seems to be motivated by, based on the conversation we've been having, which is that people are slow, inconvenient, and get in the way, is my merging with that going to make me care more about my neighbor and care more about people and care more about slowing down and actually getting to know people? Or is it going to have me sort of treating and thinking about people in more of a, I don't know, not disposable way, but in more of kind of a cavalier way? I don't know. I don't know that merging with that kind of technology is it a good thing? I don't know.
I think you've described basically a lot of science fiction over the last century at least, struggling with just that very thought. Some of those outcomes are R2-D2 and C-3PO, right? Some of those outcomes are like the black hole with Maximilian and Vincent, right? One evil robot, one good robot. And then you've got other things that are just somewhere in between. And then there's stuff like Neuromancer, which is getting ready to actually come out with a television version of that, which I'm excited to see.
Oh, really? I cannot wait. I didn't know that.
Soon it's releasing.
That was on my I had that on my syllabus, and then I cut it at the last minute and replaced something else. But that was initially going to be one of my lit assignments. But
So, that's a fabulous book because a lot of the things in there are happening to us now.
Yeah.
Is it the right thing to do? Is it the wrong thing to do?